Hello there, everyone. It's your boy, B3, back with another kicking graphic novel review. Today we are looking at one of the graphic novels that saved the comics industry, that took us into a new era of storytelling in comic books and proved that they could be something truly great. Not that they weren't already, but proved they could be more. And we're talking about Watchmen. Now, I actually put this off for a long time because what the fuck could I possibly say about Watchmen that has not already been said? Seriously, what the possible fuck could I say that you haven't heard 1,000 other YouTubers say? So that's why I'm going to focus on one specific aspect of Watchmen that I think is pretty relevant right now. So at the time of recording this, DC recently announced that they're making a Watchmen animated movie. And I love those DC animated movies. I've gotten pretty behind on them since Justice League Dark, Apocalypse War, or whatever it was called. Now that there's not a big continuity, I can kind of just watch them as I please, and I've gotten really far behind. Oopsie. But they are making a Watchmen one. And today I mostly wanted to talk about why it's impossible to adapt Watchmen. It's never, ever going to work. Comics are the perfect medium for it. And the only medium for it. I'm not saying comic books in general shouldn't be adapted. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying Watchmen specifically, you can't capture what Watchmen is on film. I mean, I want to say, take a look at All-Star Superman, right? Dwayne McDuffie did a magnificent job with that script. Sure, he left out a few of the stories, like the Bizarro stuff and whatnot, to fit it into the correct time frame, but All-Star Superman really is a perfect adaptation of a comic. The story isn't 100% exactly the same. They had to trim the fat a little, yes, but it's magnificently paced. The art style reflects the art style of the comic incredibly well, and not only is it faithful to the story, but it's faithful to the tone. It's faithful to the purpose, the meaning of All-Star Superman. It's faithful to the characters and everything. And whenever Watchmen is adapted, you just can't do it. Let's talk about Watchmen's side characters. There are a ton of side characters in Watchmen. Many of them not even superheroes, if you even want to call the people in this superheroes. They're more like vigilantes. But these side characters really are critical to the theme. You have to have the stories of these normal people up against the stories of these super people. You have to have that contrast in Watchmen. And if you cut out the magazine stand owner's conversation with the kid that reads the comics, if you cut out those comics themselves, which are comics within this comic that you read, if you cut out the psychiatrist and how working with Rorschach's case after Rorschach's arrest affects him and his family's life, and then how they all come together at the end before the quote-unquote alien arrives. Without that, you can't fully capture it. Like, look at Snyder's Watchmen film, which is bad. The director's cut, I think, is better. The director's cut is watchable, just as a film. But it's bad. It doesn't understand. It's got a not good choice of soundtrack for the most part. I'm always happy to listen to Nat King Cole's Unforgettable. I love Nat King Cole to death, one of my all-time favorite singers. But just Snyder loves slow motion. And to have slow motion, that means things that wouldn't take very long get drawn out, which means you have to make even more cuts. Snyder. I guess he's not really used to films that are good. Sorry, Snyder. I liked Man of Steel, but I haven't really seen anything else of his that I really liked. I didn't like 300 and whatnot. And I don't think he was a good choice for Watchmen, but also I don't think Watchmen was a good choice for a film. You just can't fit everything into a movie. And then, look at it this way. Oh, if you can't fit it into a movie, what about a TV show? That makes more sense, right? Oh, yeah. That would give you plenty of time to do what you wanted. TV shows, a nice serialized TV show could really make it so you could fit more of the story and more of the characters in there. That's true. But there's still an issue, and that's the visuals. Throughout Watchmen, there are an insane amount of visuals. And yeah, I know what you're thinking. Oh, you can have visuals on the screen too, dumbass. That's not the kind of visual I mean. I mean still images, people. I'm talking still images. Like, there are images in this book of street art that are incredibly important. Just street art. Like, there's this one tag that someone does really all over the city. You see it on many different panels of these two lovers kind of holding each other. But it also looks like one of those shadows that's kind of burned onto the ground during atomic bomb in Hiroshima, and like almost kind of Pompeii, I think, might have had something similar to that as well. But you see this and other graffiti, and then there's also a lot of color in Watchmen. When a lot of people think of Watchmen, I feel like they don't think about how colorful the book is, because it really is a magnificently colorful book. And that's something that the Watchmen movie, and from what I can tell based on trailers, the HBO Watchmen show didn't want to put in there. It was all these colors. It's actually quite vibrant when you go in on it. It really is. And then the 9-panel structure, I think, is also integral to the flow of the story, which is why it was used repeatedly in DC Rebirth when they knew they were going to bring the Watchmen into it. Which maybe we can talk about when I review Doomsday Clock. We can talk about that a little more. Because I have a lot to say about Doomsday Clock as well. Like, I have a lot to say about Doomsday Clock. And I feel like that one will actually be a bit more that I can go in on. But every panel, every single panel in this book is used to its absolute fullest extent. 100% absolute fullest extent. There is no space that is not used to 100% effectiveness. If someone's on the street art and the litter, every single bit of ink on that page, every speck of it has a purpose. And the purpose is never just to look cool. Sure, you want stuff to look cool. Who doesn't? But there's a purpose other than that. With every color. It's all meticulously chosen. This is a masterpiece. This is why this book is taught in colleges, even to people who aren't trying to get a degree that would help them make comics. I have friends who were taught this in their English 101 classes. I wasn't, unfortunately. Nope. I read Persepolis, though, in my English 101. And I fucking loved that graphic novel. That one was great. I need to talk about it one day. But, I mean, Moore and Gibbons, this is just their masterpiece. And I hate, at the core of my being, that DC will never respect it. They have slandered Alan Moore to the point where people write him off as a kook. But, and yeah, he's a weird guy, sure. But I'm a weird guy. I'm a really weird guy. You don't even know. But that's kind of, he's not hurting anybody weird. And it's clearly not getting in the way of him being a master of writing. I'm not sure I've read anything by Alan Moore that I didn't adore. Except maybe The Killing Joke. I liked it, but I didn't adore it. It was fine. Don't hurt me in the comments section, fanboys. I'm here to suck his dick just as much as you, okay? It's an amazing book that is still relevant to this day in its message. Its message is about politics and justice and so many things. It portrays a world that's not black and white. So its heroes can't be black and white. And in our world, good and bad aren't black and white either. So why should our stories and our heroes in them be? And that can be fun too. I have no issue with black and white in comics. But Watchmen gave us something more. And I feel like no adaptation is going to do it justice. But when you ask, I have asked so many people if they've read Watchmen. And I always get the reply, I saw the movie, I didn't like it. Almost no one tells me they've read it, which I know can't be the case. As I said, it's taught in colleges. So many people read it, but people that aren't comic book fans, their impression of this is the Zack Snyder film. I hear the HBO show was good. I don't know, I didn't watch it. I don't have HBO or HBO Max or anything. And there were the before Watchmen comics, which I didn't like. I read the Rorschach one and I didn't like it. I'm sorry. And it's not because I'm some purist, because, and here's where I dropped the bomb, I liked Doomsday Clock a lot. I'm sorry, Alan Moore. I actually really liked Doomsday Clock. But Watchmen is a masterpiece, an unadaptable masterpiece. To really soak up every bit of imagery in each panel, you have to look at them as still images. There were so many times when I read Watchmen, not only the first time, but like, it's one of those things where you can reread it and you notice something completely new every single time you reread it. You know, it's one of those books that you read so much it starts to fall apart. I haven't had many books like that. I mean, Batman Hush, Green Lantern's Secret Origin by Jeff Johns, or some DC comics that I have literally read till they fell apart on me. And Watchmen is another one like that. The one I'm talking about today is the 2019 edition specifically. It's the deluxe 2019 one. Actually, let me give you a read-up of the back of the book here. One of Time Magazine's 100 best English language novels since 1923. Over 2 million copies in print. Eisner Award winner. Hugo Award winner. Time Magazine called it a work of ruthless psychological realism. It's a landmark in the graphic novel medium. The New York Times said, remarkable, the would-be heroes of Watchmen have staggeringly complex psychological profiles. Entertainment Weekly said it was a masterwork of representing the apex of artistry. And the co-creator of Lost, Damon Lindelof, said it was the greatest piece of popular fiction ever produced. This 2019 edition of Watchmen, the groundbreaking series from Alan Moore, the award-winning writer of V for Vendetta and Batman the Killing Joke, and Dave Gibbons, the artist of Green Lantern, features a high-quality, recolored pages found in Watchmen, the Absolute Edition, with sketches, never before seen, extra bonus materials, and new introduction by Dave Gibbons. So those will be the things specific to the 2019 edition. I feel like I should mention them, since that is the edition I currently have. But, yeah, Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons are both people that I'm very familiar with. I read a lot of fucking Green Lantern. But there's really a lot of great just insight in here. Some beautiful sketches that you can check out. And more importantly, a magnificent story. The characters feel effing real. Dr. Manhattan's penis. In your face. It's real. Like, these could be real people. They're such well developed and fleshed out characters. Everything about them is like, this book, I don't know how long it took them to make Watchmen, but it feels like something that would have taken decades of work. That's how masterful it is. And once again, I have no problem at all of anyone trying to adapt the story from one medium to another. But when you can't, when you have something that's perfect for its medium and doesn't work outside of it, you need to be able to recognize that. If you don't recognize that the first time you adapt it, we can chalk that up as a mistake, like the live-action Watchmen film. But now you're going to try again, and you know damn well it's not going to work, DC. You know damn well it's not going to work. So, what are we doing here? Whenever DC wants a quick cash grab, you know, they just throw something Batman out. But when DC really wants to get some readers back into something, they pull out the Watchmen. It's their real secret weapon. Because they know that it's probably the greatest graphic novel of all time. It is the greatest graphic novel of all time. I don't want to walk through the story. I don't want to... I kind of want to just go ahead and end this. I don't need to give you the real-world history of it or anything. Those are all things that many of you have likely heard before. And let's be honest, other YouTubers probably did it better than me. Which is why today I specifically just wanted to talk about why Watchmen isn't adaptable. It's something perfect for its medium. Like Cats. They made the live-action Cats movie. Everybody fucking hated it. Because Cats is something that can pretty much only work on the stage. It's not happening anywhere else. I'm a huge Broadway nut. And that, which is true. It's not something that I show off much on this channel. There have been some G&Gs where I had a guy in also like it. But it's just not part of this channel's brand. My love of Broadway isn't part of this. But the Cats movie was announced, and I was immediately like, oh no. Oh no. Because, like, I love Tim Burton's Sweeney Todd movie. I love Phantom of the Opera movies. Multiple Phantom of the Opera movies. I know they're not all based on the musical, just... but the one that is, I adored it. Gerard Butler. But I knew Cats would be a disaster. And I know the Watchmen animated movie is going to be a disaster. So here I am, talking about a book that I never intended to actually make a full video on. And I feel like I've probably repeated myself a lot, and I think I've made my point. Watchmen is not adaptable outside of his medium. DC should respect Watchmen more. They should respect Alan Moore more. They should respect him, Alan, more. And they should respect us more. DC, you're my favorite corporate comic publisher. But go fuck yourself. I love you. I'm telling you this because I want you to be better. Go fuck yourself. Give Alan Moore a fuck ton of money. And just let Watchmen rest. I liked Doomsday Clock, but it was enough. Okay? Just let him rest. Anyway, that was it. Thank you all very much for your support. I'm sorry about this probably long video. What's my timer at? Oh, Christ. I did not mean for this to be this long. I'm so sorry. I will bounce. I will now bounce. Anyway, if you haven't read Watchmen, please do so. I didn't talk about the plot details, so hopefully you'll get on that. But now I'll have some. Maybe I'll have the next comic book review will be much more fun. I'll do something way more fun next time. Okay. How about Kamen Rider? You guys like Kamen Rider? Let's do Kamen Rider next time. All right. I'll see you all then. Good night and good luck.